demonstration for a number of people outside.
Wow, that's pretty nice when your phone getting heavy. Yeah. Hello, sir. How are you from South Africa?
King Muad'Dib, you're being greeted by His Excellency Lou Gossett Jr.
Greetings, everyone. I'm a very big fan of Iron Eagle back in the 80s.
Oh, pretty basic. Right, I'm the Geisler.
Excuse me?
I'm the Geisler.
Islam. Guten Morgen.
What time is it?
I'm here in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. So what time? Okay, no.
That's Bobby's
It's 1:15 in the afternoon.
I'm on a call with Bob.
So, Doc, you are a athlete. I've seen you somewhere before. What can you do for athletes on MedPod?
Okay, I'm gonna send you the link.
Opportunity for athletes, especially athletes who are experiencing events like we're seeing with COVID, a lot of this thing called myocarditis, which is an inflammation of the heart. It would be really great if we could have one of these MedPod units at a college facility, at a high school, at a arena where we have defibrillators.
We had a game.
Yeah, at the game, yeah.
Yeah, we have defibrillators, AED at these facilities. But what if we had a unit like this so the paramedic immediately went to that athlete and can hook them up immediately to find out exactly what's going on?
Sounds good to me.
So I would like to take this machinery, the MedPod, to the retired basketball players convention where we could do what we're doing here with 200 players.
Exactly right.
It's a perfect contract.
And I've mentioned before, we have a balance plate that was created for the military that actually gets into concussion, cognition, and other things. So you stand on it, it's like a game, you play like a game, but it actually gives you a couple minutes.
Oh yeah.
It tells you are they on?
Football's
Yeah, absolutely.
And Lou, I have to do a shout out because I spent 10 years in the Air Force after 9/11. And I love your Iron Eagle movies.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you. You don't have to get down. Give me
Or should I call you Chap?
You guys know who Chap was? He's a black hero in the United States Air Force.
Exactly right.
Him and his father.
Yeah.
I got a question that just came in from the Gans Republic in Eastern Europe. He wants to know, what is the weight of this piece of equipment? I have a question that just came in from the Gans Republic of Eastern Europe. Used to be part of Ukraine. They want to know what's the weight of this piece of equipment.
About 30 pounds.
It's about 30 pounds.
There's a few different units. This is the mobile dock unit. There's also a backpack that's about 20 pounds on the backpack, so you can wear it. It has similar equipment, but doesn't stand up tall.
They train soldiers to carry more.
Carry it right on the plane.
Right. That's right.
Okay, over this.
Yeah, this goes. It's literally taking it around everything.
Yes, it does.
It does.
Yes, it
When
does.
I was part of the military, we had first aid money here and theater surgery. So having a device like this to be able to carry on a vaccine,
So let me ask you a question. You're at my house. You want me to Let's call a lawyer. Call a lawyer to make a contract. And see what we can do. Good business, but good service. That's even better. Because what I see now is that people who cannot afford to go to a doctor's.
You could go down.
Go back. And it's amazing. So you can imagine how many lives these things. This would be the thing, which is we've got to do an advantage of some people who make money on it, as opposed to that. I mean, lives is that's right now.
Real him something.
So,
And there's other units also that we don't need to visit the location, like in a church or mosque or something. Put them in the center where they want. Right, we need it. Right, so in that scenario, they'll come in and use it, and so whatever day this program is going around, we have access. Or we'll go go to them if necessary. I would look at something like this or that, or people that issue are.
I think a message came.
They have, I'm gonna bring out the other units and see what but you would basically.
Okay. Could we use this for humanitarian?
Excuse me.
Question. They wanted to know, could they use this for humanitarian? That's all I could read. It disappeared off the screen.
So this means I can take it to a recreational center, I can take it to a homecoming game, I can take it to an African village. I can take it.
And it's on there. So it's not that it hasn't been, it's already been in those.
How we can take this to a remote village where there's no satellite.
So the way that this is built, again, this has been in development for over a decade. And this goes back to some work I did originally in Walmart. I created the Walmart business originally where I stripped up sidewalks and parking lots for the library, locations, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, bring it in. And we took that knowledge and based it created Medcon. One of the main things we were put it anywhere. I want to put it in the middle of the desert. I want to put it, if I can get a satellite communication, it works. And so if the system works on low latency, meaning when we can work on a satellite, it can work in high latency environments where we actually have one, but in the middle of the city with a gigabyte of service. So depending on where it is, the system automatically adjusts to that level. And so you can put it in literally anywhere. So what we would do, let's say if it's going into a very remote location with nothing, we would also bring in the equipment to be able to hook up to that satellite.
There's over 100 satellites.
You get pretty much anywhere.
Okay.
That's
Fantastic.
Okay.
We have a question from Kenya coming in. Wants to know what is the functional range of this device? And King Muabdid is interested, can it be used for humanitarian projects? That is absolutely what it's intended for. And the range, Mr. Tabor will give you an idea on that.
I don't know if they're asking the medical range or the British from a communication standpoint. What's the
Okay, what are you asking? Is the medical range? This can be applied around the world to a doctor with the internet or a satellite. If there's no internet connection, we get the coordinates of the land area, and we can send it from that satellite, so it can be deployed locally and diagnosed globally.
And it's very broad range of capabilities. So anywhere from the vitals into scoping, into the otoscope, dermoscope, retina, anterior chamber, and so on, into even laryngoscopes and heart scopes. So any of the heart scopes, EKG, spirometry, ultrasound, X-ray, concussion, cognition. It keeps on going. Dental scopes as well. Right, so it goes across the board. And again, we work with Henry Schein, and it's one of the companies that has global distribution. So they have operations in 27 countries around the world that service about 70 countries today. So it's a global capability to get it out to where it needs to go.
It's amazing stuff.
So this is great. We have a huge international audience, 20 people from Eastern Europe to Southern Africa.
I'm sure it wasn't me.
And Brazil. Oh, we got a question. Somebody wants your autograph, Lou. Lou, somebody wants your autograph.
Who's that?
Me. They're enjoying this. We want to thank everyone for coming in. It's the World Media Coalition presentation of the MedPod medical device with Mr. Jack Taywell.
Lamont, I have a question.
Does he have a camera?
Yeah.
Use this down here.
Funding. But now I have to submit documents for humanitarian funding. It has to be right to That's the question I need to find.
Okay, we have a hand in that space there.
Before I leave, I want to bring out the next unit. Doc, you want to stay on that? So if I bring out RPM.
No. That one is done. There'll be no other.
Oh,
No. Oh, I did.
Okay. Say that again, please. You're breaking up. Ask me that one more time, please.
Royal Majesty Moore did have a question.
Yes. What's your question, Your Majesty?
I'm gonna turn for our proposal. How can we have that submitted?
I'm going to show you something else.
I will have to check with Mr. Taywell on that. Jack, they want to know how this can be integrated into humanitarian, what type of agreement do they need to have? Okay. Okay, we'll follow up with that with Mr. Taywell, and we can structure an agreement.
Thank you, Marco.
Your Excellency, Marco Kubu, there's another question there maybe that you can help us with.
Yeah.
Okay, here, Jeff Cash has his hand raised. Let me get to him first because his hand has been up for a moment. Jeff, what's your question?
How you doing?
I'm
My
great.
question is, what could this do for cancer patients?
What can be used for cancer patients?
How can this device be used for cancer patients?
It can be. There is no impediment to using it for cancer patients.
So we got another demonstration too.
Okay, we're doing some more. We have another demonstration of another piece of equipment as well. Okay, so
This is not there, right? So if the doctor done analyzed, and they need 24/7 care, now Jack can get into that. Right. So
Okay.
this is intended
So we have a device that's being opened up now for chronic care management, which would include the question that you just asked me, Jeff.
essentially.
All right. I work with the American Cancer Society. They're doing a lot of fundraising for cancer patients. I also
Okay.
writing a book right now on cancer patients.
Okay, make sure that the host who is in Brazil has your information. That's my production person for the World Media Coalition. We're sponsoring this broadcast. Make sure you get your information to him, and he'll get it to me. I'll get it to Jack and Ed Miller, and we'll communicate with anyone and everyone who's on this platform right now, because all of you will be a part of my marketing team for this project, for this development.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let me see whose hand this is.
Those have cellular knowledge.
Room temperature for storage on this. Don't want to have it too cold, but it's room temperature.
I mean, not freezing.
Right. It could be in a cold environment, but not freezing.
Yeah, we've had units working in the last couple of years. I'll stay outside the smoke with it, but they'll travel in the car.
Well, this is a connection of doctors in my store.
So we got Eastern Europe, we got Kenya, we got South Africa, we got Brazil. We got
Marco Kubu, back up on your camera, son. We want to see Lou Dr. Jr. get out your hand.
Oh, all right. Glad you told him.
Well, who's that bullheaded other man?
thank you.
Hey, hello. Hello, world. What's going on, everybody?
Are you in Brazil?
How you doing, Lou?
Muito obrigado.
Yes,
I'm in Brazil, actually. I'm in the
Hello.
The producer is in Brazil.
Is it Brazil?
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. Bruno Miller.
Hi, Makubu. There's another question that we have not heard an answer from. Will you help us?
Yes, Princess Sheffy, ask your question, please. You got a question coming from South Africa.
Can I ask? Hello?
Yes, we have a question.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
I ask? Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Right?
You want to put your question in the chat, please?
I did.
So we'll tell you what to do. Right?
Okay,
So,
wait a
so as an example, so we take measurements, so like we click on it, so I want to take these things.
That's exactly.
And at 3 o'clock, right?
Uh-huh.
If it's a 2:45, I want to take oxy and aspirin. So it gives
Room temperature, it can be in a cold environment, not freezing. And if it's in direct sunlight, it's not a problem. It's just there might be some glare off the screen.
Who's operating the equipment?
The equipment can be operated by someone that's been trained, a medical professional, or a layperson that's been trained to use the equipment. It's not very complicated.
You just go through each thing.
Are you meaning to say, because he's mentioning quite a whole like ultrasound and
So the same way that Dr. Wisk is in here, he could actually come in through this.
And you can
And
sit.
so,
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, what's that question again, please?
the thing is that the rate
this is, I'm in here exactly.
depending
The same
on
what's bothering you. Right? And then
it means I'm looking at from the ultrasound to X-ray to echoes to ECGs. So you want to say whoever will be operating it, even if they are removed, they will be trained to do all of that. Is that what you're saying?
Well, there'll be direct access with the doctor consistently when you operate the machine. The doctor can be 1,000 miles away or on the other. We'll be training to make sure that the one who is operating it is proficient. And I will have to check with Mr. Taywell to see about the EKG and that type of examination. But the diagnostic equipment itself is extremely functional.
I like that. That's the person I'm asking.
Which one?
About the medication.
Yeah. So it comes up if I missed it, it will say it was missed. But the beauty is it's going to the doctor on the other side. And we have a whole team of people on the other side, well check, where they're monitoring this stuff. So if anything comes in or you're going off the rails, if you're out of range on anything, medication, you missed your medication, they call you. Hey, we saw you missed your medication. Maybe the first time we'll leave you alone, but you missed it the second time. We got to get on it.
At the door.
So at the door, but they'll be on the phone.
They come every week, every Thursday or every Friday.
Right.
Through the program.
Right.
And they knock on your door.
Right.
The specialists will come and check with the main office what you have to do. So you can't lie.
So the part about this is that for VIPs, we had access to this for a long time. But for people that are not VIP that can't afford it, now you do it.
That's the
There's no difference anymore. And that's one of the things that is really important that people understand.
You okay, Doc?
Yeah.
You don't have to be a VIP anymore to get service. Yes.
I think the best way to think about this is if I have an acute event in an arena, I want to have this big MedPod unit so I can do the most sophisticated measurements for that acute problem. But if I'm dealing with a problem day to day, trying to monitor people, where they're going, the unit Jack's showing you now, that's what they mean by chronic in this case is day-to-day ongoing measurements. And the reason that's important is doctors treat chronic care by trend lines. We don't look at your shooting percentage for that game. We look at the season.
Nice going, jump shot.
I'll show you where it's going. I'm going to show him the patch. I'm going to show him Brian's sensors as well. So this is serious, guys. I'm going to show you where this is going. Okay. So it's going to something like this, right? This is called the EDRUG patch, right? It's not FDA approved yet, so it's not, but it's going.
What's the name again?
EDRUG, ETRG, EDRUG patch. And basically, you would wear it on your chest, but it doesn't just take EKG. It does blood pressure from your chest. It does do the SpO2. It'll do your heart rate variability. It will do your steps and your other information. So it can tell you if you're lying down or if you're moving or whatever. So it's easier if you're lying down, right? Or if you want to, wait, you've been in bed for 10 hours, right? What's going on here? So the ability to actually go and remotely monitor you, it's not yet, but in about a year from now, it's to have cell service built right into it. So you wear it and then it just goes. It goes to the cloud and then doc come in and say, hey, off your phone or off of whatever it is, on the tablet. Hey, I'm seeing something I don't like. Let's get a mobile doc unit into your home. Let's do this.
Okay.
That's where it's going.
That device, that
Just
little
cash
package
as a stand-up.
has EKG capability.
That's EKG, I'm sorry, not EKG, blood pressure, SpO2, pulse ox. It has heart rate variability, and a bunch of other, positioning and.
Okay.
What is that? He wants
Uncle Fubu, excuse me, Jeff Cash has his hand up.
Okay.
We do have laboratory equipment that's.
Is that Jeff Cash?
Yes, it's Jeff Cash. He has his hand up.
No, I already asked a question.
Oh, well, your hand is still in
I
there.
know. I just took it down.
Okay, all right.
I didn't realize it was still up.
That's our illustrious talk show host, Van Miller from the Van Miller Talk Show for the World Media Coalition. She's looking out for you, Jeff.
It's not that. It's not. So you can tell Brian I'm showing this device here.
The interesting thing about this device, especially if you have people from vulnerable countries like in Africa, this is a sensor that can measure your temperature and can help you detect changes in what's called your circadian rhythm.
He's explaining what it does.
Let's start.
Hey, go back again.
So this is a sensor that is inexpensive, meaning a couple dollars. It's not an Apple Watch. It doesn't need to be, because if you, let's say you are in some sub-Sahara African country and you think there's a breakout of malaria, you're looking for clusters. I also have training in public health. That's my other degree. And the bottom line is that I can tell in a village that there are temperature irregularities that indicate there's a breakout of potentially of malaria or Ebola or some other infectious disease, and you can get people to that area in a way that you couldn't before because the sensor's only a couple of dollars. So you can monitor a large population of people for infectious disease and make a difference in infectious disease monitoring treatment. They call this syndromic surveillance. So you're surveilling things for a syndrome, in this case, your temperature, which is a measure of your circadian rhythm. You've all heard of circadian rhythm, which is,
Only a few of us, Dwayne.
Explain it to us.
Hey, Dwayne.
circadian rhythm is your body's rhythm throughout the day. One of the reflections of your circadian rhythm is your temperature. And circadian rhythm is like your fingerprint. Everybody has a rhythm. Your temperature is different than my temperature. Your fluctuations in blood pressure are different than mine. Respirations are different. Your physical fitness is different. Circadian rhythm is a reflection of that. It's an actual body fingerprint of your rhythm. And the temperature sensors, which have other parameters that will be able to be added to it, is a way to look at syndromic surveillance for populations in a way we never could before. So you can deploy these to a country, villages where you're concerned about an epidemic of some sort, and you can get early detection and early warning, so you can get early treatments to these populations. You couldn't give everybody in Ethiopia an Apple Watch, but you can give them a sensor. And that is going to dramatically change. I'm working with Brown University on this for influenza outbreaks, for COVID. This is all a way to detect this in a way we never could.
Well, actually, it's the answer. I'm not sure you thought about this, but I find I have to think about it. There's an imminent conflict that's happening in the globe. That's like as opposed to what they did with the Dominican Republics and the people from Afghan, as opposed to what they did with people from Haiti. That scenario is 10 folds around the world. That takes that negative energy and pushes it away so that everybody gets fair treatment.
And that's what
And
we're
so that
lacking
war
right now.
becomes impotent.
Well, if you're in the United States, it's a little bit hard.
Yeah.
It's a little bit hard in the United States to talk to the person on the street about, I know you don't worry about your next fast news.
Hold on, Doc.
But if you're in
Doc, hold on a second. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
But the disconnect for people in the United States is they don't know there's people who are challenged where their next meal is going to come from, but also where their next drink of water is going to come from.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. So now that takes that entire competition, conflict off the table.
Yes. And we can then work with, because we were talking to some people who we had connections with at the United Nations. This is something, and one of my professors at the University of Illinois, Chicago, actually is from Africa. And this is one of his interests, is syndromic surveillance. So one of our desires is to try to deploy this to other parts of the globe where you have people from developing countries who don't have access to the kind of surveillance.
Now they have it. Now they can have it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Elaborate a little bit more on take it off of the plate when this comes in.
You told me?
Yeah.
Well, you read the headlines. I don't know if it's conscious or unconscious, but look what happens to the Haitians, as opposed to the Dominican Republic, as opposed to the Afghanistans, as opposed to Latin. What happened in that little Texas town? What happened to those people? They came with put them in tents and stuff. But when the Haitians showed up, they started killing them and giving them nightsticks. This equipment here makes that elementary, because they don't have to come in a bunch anymore. They can go to a tent anywhere in the world and get treated.
Exactly.
Or diagnosed even. Because of the available satellites that are up there, over 100 of them up there. So my thinking is not just this thing, but it's an element and it's an instrument to equalize mankind. So that you don't have that problem as a starvation or ill health. That's available now for you. So now let's continue to make sure we get these people fed. Because this will be taken care of.
You bring humanity to humanity.
Yes,
So
bingo.
a healthy body brings a healthy mind.
To save mankind.
Okay.
Because
All right.
when you think of infrastructure, this is where you have to start at. Otherwise, there'd be nobody to use the infrastructure. Okay? So this, that health, community health disparity, that's what this is all about.
So you know what? When was the last time you remember this practice? Africa, and then the places in the town where we're black and unequal. The doctors that learned how to do that came to our home to take care of our children. I had a great grandmama, I'll show you a picture of her. I had a rheumatic fever at 12 years old. We couldn't afford a doctor. But my temperature was between 103 and 104. She went in the backyard and got some yam and something else that smelled terrible. Put the yam, mixed it up, put my foot in it.
You remember that smell, huh?
Oh, man. Whatever it was, I think we all remember.
Yeah, I guess so.
Something happened when we equalized that treatment, and we didn't succumb to polio or chicken pox. We can all talk about polio or chicken pox and measles successfully.
Jack, we have a question.
That's right.
What's the maintenance on this equipment?
That's right.
Maintenance from what perspective?
In terms of
That's great.
maintaining it?
It doesn't have to be calibrated.
115.
So everything is without calibration. It lasts. I mean, it's all professional equipment. It's Hill-Rom, well challenged.
So it's essentially maintenance free.
It's restir. I mean, you have to maintain it,
Yes.
but it doesn't require any type of calibration. It's rugged. It's professional. It's the same stuff that they use in hospitals. Exactly the same.
Okay.
Gerald, come right here and let's do on that one.
But it's also a
This is what
solution
we're about to
to the brain drain. We've all been the problem of the brain drain internationally.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as a brain drain with access.
Developing the recipe from mutual survival.
Developing a recipe for
Mutual survival.
And then donations, you can guarantee that whether they arrived or not, based on the data still on location.
And the way that people behave when they come back out of the street.
But Africa, the Caribbean, the brain drain coming to the United States and not going back. So that solves, and that is deep, deep in terms of them.
Well, if we sold it, if you come here to sell me on this,
Yeah.
I'm sold.
okay.
But the people who want to receive this message must be put together in advance so they can get the message first. You get the message, the most important place.
So you're the ambassador of equity.
That's what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I can't be. He wants me to fool. I'm the element.
And understanding the cooperative economics involved in it.
Yeah, and then when these people who are down and out come together successfully with this treatment, they pass it on to somebody who can afford it. Sure.
And cooperative economics to invest in.
Yes, sir. Yeah. We got to take care of ourselves. Hey, grandma. 115 maybe. That's me. That's 15. That's 115.
Can you take a picture of Lou and go in?
That's me and great grandma from down here in Georgia.
He got it out here. Did you take a picture of it?
8 months.
Oh, okay.
I just got it. I was in Atlanta about a year. Yeah. Okay. That's not my place. Yes.
Hey Charles, how you doing, man?
Absolutely.
Oh, we're really here. You didn't get a chance to come in.
Really? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have a Zoom on.
We have to celebrate that farm. That's only till then.
I don't know. I don't know talk about that. Talk about this. Yeah, I got the pictures with you. That's what I think. We're talking like let's change the world. Help your body. Freedom mind. So,
Come a little closer, please. I want to get this shot here. And this is the Honorable Geraldine Miller, the mayor of Maysville, South Carolina, a direct descendant of Mary McLeod Bethune, seating next to His Excellency Lou Gossett Jr. with a picture of his great-grandmother and him when he was 15.
She was 107.
And she had just finished changing his diaper.
What we want to do is we want to bring in Todd Stack from Henry Shine. We're going to bring in he's down in Miami.
Oh, really? You bring him up?
I'm gonna let you go now. I'm gonna let Todd Stack come in. I know we could probably bring him in. But let me give him the opportunity to say hello.
Yes,
All right. Thank you.
That's a no, just for what it's worth. No, that's the name of my podcast.
Greetings, Marco Cuckoo. We're controlling the room to let people in.
Say it again.
Yeah.
Controlling the room to let people in the Zoom call.
Yeah.
Ahmad can let him in.
He's one of the oldest employees.
I'm gonna see
He's gonna come up on the screen now. Let him.
Ahmad, can you hear me?
This is my partner. He created. You see his name, Henry Shine. Henry Shine. That's my wife.
Okay, they got some. King Abdi said you got some people coming into the broadcast. Let them in, please.
See us?
Yeah, I just let him read it.
somebody else. You know that is?
Okay, we have the CEO of Henry Shine on the screen now with the machine.
Yeah, well,
The Teladoc machine.
Oh my God.
It's a pleasure, sir.
So we're here. We just did a demo, but I really wanted to bring you in again as our partner on the Henry Shine side, talking about global distribution. You also have people on the phone here from from Africa. There's what, 20-something people there.
Yeah, we have 20 people in a Zoom call, starting from Eastern Europe, Gas Republic in Eastern Europe, South Africa. The host of the Zoom call is in Brazil. We have South Africa, we have Nigeria, we have Sudan, we have Kenya on an international Zoom call right now.
And some royalty on there as well.
Right.
Just to give the proper reach out. But we're in Lou's home down in Fayetteville, Georgia. I know the Fayetteville in
North Carolina.
No, in Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
Jack, how you doing? I mean, Todd, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. So hopefully, obviously, everyone's seen the power of MedPod. So, I joke that most people, if I ask 10 different people the definition of telemedicine, I'll get 12 different answers. MedPod truly brings telediagnostics to a whole different level. So, however you define telemedicine, this is beyond telemedicine. You can actually treat patients and, from a provider's perspective, have a billable event and capture that clinical information. It's really a game changer. And as you may know, we've had significant success in taking care of special needs folks that normally would go to the hospital, they were readmitted, and keeping kids out of hospitals as well and schools as well. So we're very proud of what we built with MedPod, between Henry Schein and MedPod, and look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you, sir.
I should also mention behind you, you got Bobby Hunter from the retired Harlem Globetrotters. And many others. Ed, right? He's standing
Listen,
here.
and he keeps you up to speed, and it's the cool thing is it's all real because you get names thrown around all the time, like yeah, sure.
We are in the same place.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're in the same place. I'm looking forward to shaking the hand so we can continue on. Is that all right with you?
Absolutely. Looking forward to myself. I'm truly a pleasure. I really appreciate the time. And again, I'm sure Jack showed you all the basic functionality, but the cool part, as the remote doctor, I can turn devices on, log, capture audio, video, clinical data, and really have a meaningful medical encounter with a patient as if I was there in the room, even though I'm not there.
May I make a suggestion of a movie that I'd like for you to see?
Yes, sir.
It's called The Cuban.
I know the movie. I don't think I watched it.
I think you should watch it. You see that's the answer to this MedPod thing. Is when this young girl came to restore the memory of this Cuban who used to be in charge of the nightclub in Havana. And he was not communicating until she got smells that was familiar and sounds that was familiar and became a nightclub performer again before he died. It's very similar to this modern thing of MedPod, or get people to remember who they really are originally and to be of benefit to the people around them.
Absolutely. So, again, we're very pleased with what we're able to do. We're hoping to expand with Eddie's help and all of your help to bring MedPod services across the country and across the world. So,
let me know what the next move is. I'm here for you.
And Todd, one of the things you're thinking of a lot of different charitable events. And so one of the things maybe we could do is bring Henry Schein charities into it in some way to see, there's a lot of celebrity here, so to speak. Literally, right? And so we may be able to do some really interesting things together with the charity on board.
We have a question from Kenya in terms of waterproof. Is the equipment waterproof?
So we do have a version of this that goes into a Pelican case, and it's waterproof and it floats. So if you throw it in, it falls off the boat. It will work, but it's a different case. This is more of a streamlined case. This other one's a little bit bigger. It adds a few pounds to it, but it's
very exciting.
It's good.
Very exciting.
All we need is Ed.
Understand. I really appreciate. Thank you for bringing me in and connecting live. A pleasure to meet everyone.
And let me know what's next, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay. All right, Todd.
Okay. Now, there was a suggestion to bring in a discussion of the United States AID, Agency for International Development, which has the capability of providing development funds for this piece of equipment to be deployed throughout Africa. We need to touch bases with the African Union heads so that they can be brought into the structure and given the pathways to access the funds through USAID.
there's a society there that gives you, I know you're familiar with doctors.
Right.
There's a lot of money.
What does it go? Doctors Without Borders.
Yeah, very, yes.
And then I have a contact with UNESCO, the educational director for the Sustainable Development Goals, Dr. Ada Okika, and UNESCO has over 5,000 UNESCO associations around the world.
So the way we think about this is to say, what is the need in that community? So that could be a community here, but it could be a community in Africa, or it's anywhere in the world. And you say, what type of equipment do you want to use within that environment? Someone's coming in, let's see. Hey, back
You know, I forgot the most important thing. Lou, the first movie I ever saw with my wife was An Officer and a Gentleman. You makes a movie and I'm just pissed. I'm like, oh, there's something wrong with the damn thing. You know, only two things. Yes.
Mayonnaise, that's right.
Mayonnaise.
Hey, Todd, you picked,
I just flashed on that.
Yeah.
You know what that means? Both of us are all. That's all.
Yes, you got that right. And that was 1992.
I use your line that you look pretty good to drink Teladoc.
Hey, Tom,
That was still here.
Lou said you'll compensate for that, okay?
All good.
Okay.
So if it's not formaldehyde, then maybe Macallan 18 doesn't. It tastes much better. I'm sure you like that.
All right. All right. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
Take care.
Later on, I'll tell you some stories that make you laugh, but not now.
I appreciate that.
You
Thank
got it. Okay.
Bye-bye.
It's a nice.
Todd realized it. Yeah.
Representative.
Yeah, good job. You get
What is our next? What is our next move? What is
We
our
are
next
going
move?
to present you with we'll get back together.
I'm here.
With,
I'm here.
With Brian and with all the members of our team,
Mhm.
and we'll present you with proposals.
Okay. In the meantime, each one of you has something to do with Wall Street. We'll keep our relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I don't know where.
So we have to continue. There's more relationship.
And these things take a little.
Yes,
And,
okay.
Morgan
More
on the stage. And there's,
okay.
it's a missing curriculum. So all the information, and I find that from Villanova.
Okay, well, the question is, how can this get to Africa? We are working on that. This question comes out of Uganda. That is going to be addressed. We also will be bringing this to the African Union. So this will be capable to be deployed throughout the entire continent of Africa. Please make sure you put your information in the chat so we can preserve it and reach out to those who have attended this very significant demonstration of this piece of equipment. My name is Makakubu Ali El Bey. Zoom link to you, and we want to make sure that everyone that's in this presentation is a part of the deployment for this machine, and we have the opportunity to train people and put people to work with this as well.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have the written. I don't know what they did. Did they have I haven't written things. What
Did they send it to you?
What was it about?
We also have my colleague from Black On Purpose Television just came in the room, Michael Campbell.
So this is Brian Wiss. This is the guy that we're talking about.
Hello.
He's in New York. Where are you, Brian?
You're down by the east side, aren't you?
So he's the Wall Street guy. That's actually you.
Oh, I spoke to your dad. All
I
right.
just spoke with your dad. He did the demo.
All right, what you chewing on, brother? Is that for your double bubble? I got you, brother.
I want to thank everyone for coming in. We're going to be closing out. The demonstration is over. This is the World Media Coalition, Jazz Television Network production
When we come back, we have to talk about what to do with together.
with Jeff Taywell, Jack Taywell of MedPod, Lou Gossett Jr., Ed Miller. We're closing out. We want to thank everyone. This meeting was recorded. It's available. Again, I'm Michael Kruger, Ali El Bay. PG3 Productions, Black on Purpose Television, Ed Miller, Lou Gossett Jr., Jack Taywell, and a host of others. Thank you.